This is a nice question, and I'm excited to answer it. Zane Hodgen Racing says that they are a young professional, having graduated in 23 from college, and looking for advice about tips for talking to people that you want to work for. I have temporary employment where I can gain valuable corporate office experience in multiple areas, but it's not what I want for my long-term career. I'm an avid car enthusiast and want to work in the classic car industry, and I've met several successful people with their own small businesses in the industry, and I'm planning to reach out to them to have lunch or coffee with the aim of getting a job. What advice do you have for conversations where I want to ask for a job without actually saying something like, "Can you please give me a job?" Yeah, okay. There's another thing later that I also, let's see, here we go. Okay. This feels like part of the same question. Dreadpirate.Robert says, what advice would you have for someone primed for a big promotion and wanting the big promotion and scared to death at the same time? And what I wrote there is, if you like the company that you're working for and your bosses are thinking about promoting you, you could rest in the knowledge of being less scared, because if your bosses are going to matriculate you up to a position, it's likely that they know that you can do it. I have definitely put people in positions that they didn't know they could do, and I knew that they could do it. So I wrote there, trust the process. Now, that's a lot of ifs, but, and you know, I spent a lot of time on anti-work, so I know how many like promotions get taken away from people, but like if it's a reasonable work environment and your higher ups are going to move you up, I think you can trust them that they can see that you've got what it takes. Going back to Zane Hodgen Racing, one of the things that someone gave me advice about doing, and I did this with IDEO back in 2001. I was working for ILM, but the work wasn't consistent, and I needed more money. I'm freelance. I was freelance. I've always been freelance. And so I just wanted to know if there was other work out there. And someone said to me, who said this? Bob Zakarian. Said this. He's like, call up a company you want to work for and ask for an informational interview. Tell them you're in the industry adjacent to theirs and you'd like to just talk about what they hire for and why. And so I did. I cold called and got a really lovely person who set up an hour-long meeting with a couple of supervisors at IDEO, and they talked to me specifically about their hiring practice, that IDEO had, at that point, they may still, a corporate philosophy of hiring what they called mushroom-shaped people. So people with a strong foundation in the thing that they were good at, that's the stalk of the mushroom, and then a wide range of interests to stuff adjacent to that. Right, like so it spreads out. The desire for knowledge spreads out. That's a long way of saying they like slightly specialized generalists. And I had a lovely, illuminating conversation with those folks. It did not lead to work at IDEO, but let me tell you about being a supervisor, because people come up to me in many different social interactions wanting to work for me. And the reason I'm joining this with the trust the process question from Dread Pirate Roberts is, you may think you know that you want to work for someone, but that doesn't matter if they can't use you. I know that sounds like dumbly axiomatic, but bear with me here. I'm looking for a particular kind of mindset in a shop assistant when I'm thinking about it. And it's not necessarily what you'd think. And I'm not even sure I have articulated the kind of person that works here. And of the half dozen or so shop assistants I've had in this space over the past 12, 14 years, it's not like there's a specific criterion I'm looking for, but there is a vibe. There's a real vibe. And what I'm going to advise you to do is not think about wanting specifically a job with the person you're talking to. If you let go of that, it removes a whole bunch of tension from the conversation. People are empathetic. We can read each other's body language and our inflection and our voices. And when someone's sitting across from you and they want something from you, this is happening in that conversation. It's a pull. And okay, I'm gonna add another category to people who want something from me. Some people come up to my table at cons and they want to tell me about their skill set, and only after the fact I realize, oh, I think they were kind of interviewing for a job with me. I'm sort of slow at that. But then there are some people that come up to my table and they think they've seen me respond to somebody else's object, and they've seen me do a video about that object, and they've seen that they have this idea that somehow if I saw the thing that they make, I would trumpet it and all their problems would be solved. It really feels like some people come to me with a plan that's that loosely formed. Like, we just got to get this under Adam's nose and then it'll all be smooth sailing. And I got to tell you, I can smell that. I can really smell that when you think that I'm going to solve your business model. I can smell it, and I don't want that responsibility. So if you are sitting down with people for coffee, instead of thinking to yourself, I'd like a job with this person, try it this. If I'm what this person is looking for, I would like them to hire me. That's a very different mindset, and it's much more open. And I suggest that you will learn more about the industry and the particular kind of skills required for that job than you would if you're sitting there wanting the whole time doing this business. You graduated in 23, which tells me that you may be the tender, young age. You graduated from college in 23. You might be as young as 22, 23 years old. And honestly, to an older person, a 23-year-old is just like all of a 23-year-old's thoughts are sort of apparent to an older person. Not all, but like, you know, we can see your youth and your ambition and your drive, and we can see the way you think the world works. And it's just, you're going to get farther not overthinking what you want out of a conversation. Yeah. And then the other thing that I would imagine is if you have temporary employment where you can gain valuable corporate office experience in multiple areas, valuable corporate office experience is valuable. It is. I want to just counsel you one other thing, which I love telling people to do, which is prioritize being easy to work with. That is definitely a vibe that I'm smelling for. And I don't know what are the list of things that make somebody easy to work with, because it's all over the map. But like, I do know that people who are easy to work with tend to take drama out of a situation rather than put it in. People who are easy to work with tend not to qualify when they're helping you out. They tend to spot problems, but their ego's not tied into their output. People who are easy to work with pay attention to the bigger picture and get out of the way when it's necessary. If you are in a corporate office experience, you're going to experience all manner of nonsense. Learn to deal with that nonsense of the corporate office environment with equanimity and reserve and a lack of emotionality, and you will go far. I swear at this age, I can tell when someone's easy to work with more than most other things about them. But yeah, that's a terrific question, Zane Hodgen Racing, and worthwhile investigating. You don't know what any of these jobs are actually like for you. And that's why I'm saying you might think you want to work for this shop because of the stuff they do, but when you get there, you might find that it's, okay, that's the other thing. Right, I knew I had this other point to make about this. As you are thinking about going into informational interviews and sitting across from people to learn about the industry, and if you turn out to have a simpatico personality, maybe they could hire you. The other thing I want you to be considering in your head is, wait a minute. What do you want the job to feel like? Do you want a supervisor who micromanages you? You're going to get one at some point. I say this because I wanted to work in special effects in a special effects shop since I was 10 years old, and I learned that that was a job. When I was 18, 19, 20 years old in New York, I worked for several shops that were terrible places to work. They did beautiful work, but at the level I engaged with those shops, they were unpleasant workplaces with, uncommunicative, not supportive, kind of shitty. Yeah, so I was surprised by that, but it also reset me. And the reason I want you to think about what it should feel like, because your job should feel good. You don't kill yourself to go work for a shop that does beautiful output, but is a horrible place to work. That won't be satisfying to you. Yeah, I think there's real value in spending time thinking about your future and how you want it to feel, not just the output you hope to engage in. Okay. Thank you for watching that video. Are you as sick of the tosses to membership as I am? Good, because here's a brand new one that I recorded today, and it's nice and short. There are 3 tiers to tested membership, and they all offer awesome stuff. Find out about it by clicking the join link below. We'll see you there.